Good evening, LowDown Nation. Here we are with another installment of the LowDown with Matt. This, my friends, is episode 14. And tonight, it is my distinct pleasure to have with me Jade, who is the bassist for Atlanta's own Bible Belt Massacre. And without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and bring Jade in and we will get started. Hey, Jade. How are you this evening?
I'm good. How are you, Matt?
I am doing great. I'm doing absolutely great. We had a good short conversation before we went live, and found out a little bit about what's going on. But we'll go ahead and just kind of get started with the first and most obvious question. Jade, how long have you been playing bass?
Before I started playing bass seriously, I was a lead guitarist and rhythm guitarist. I
Hmm.
played a few acoustic live shows and stuff like that, so I really didn't pay that much attention to bass. But I ended up buying one just in case I needed it for a show or something, just to have in my collection, because it's always good to have more than you need. Um,
Absolutely.
and I learned a couple of things on it just to know it, just in case. But I never took it seriously until I did get the opportunity to join this band as a bassist. And I was like, well, I have one. And they were like, cool. you know, what can you do? And I came up with some stuff, and I've really liked taking on bass. So it's really been a easy transition from playing guitar to going into bass. I really enjoy it.
Very cool. Very cool. So, as far as your, I guess your journey as a musician, guitar slash bass, have you ever taken lessons of any sort, or have you been pretty much self-taught? How has that gone?
I have been completely self-taught. I watched like YouTube tutorials and stuff like that. I guess that might kind of count as a lesson. The way that I honestly did it is I would just look up songs that I liked or thought, would be easy to learn, and just
Hmm.
learn songs individually, like just on YouTube. And I learned how to read tabs so I could do stuff like that.
Right, right. Yeah, Tab opens up a whole universe of
Yes. It was so
stuff.
easy for me to just learn pretty much anything once I got tabs figured out.
Right, right. So, besides guitar and bass, do you play any other instruments?
Not really. I really just stick to guitar and bass. I do have a drum set, just something I got just in case I needed it. But I don't really play it that much. It's just kind of a just in case I need it kind of thing.
Gotcha, gotcha. If it was required of you, could you drum?
I got pretty good at it. When I got it,
Hmm.
I played it kind of pretty steady for probably 6 months. So I know just basic like, but I couldn't like get really crazy
Right,
with it. I couldn't do that, but
right.
like just essential drums, yeah, sure.
Yeah, but you're not Neil Peart.
No, I would, if even if I had stuck to drums, I would never be Neil, ever, ever.
So, as far as your bass playing goes, are you pretty much a finger style player, or do you use a pick, or is it situational?
I mostly just use my fingers, but
Hmm.
I even when I played guitar and lead rhythm guitar, I always pick. You see my finger right here? That's where I play. That's my pick. I just use my finger, even with just
Okay.
regular guitar. So I've just always found that a pick feels really weird in my hand. But here
Hmm.
lately, with some of the stuff we've been doing for the band, I've been kind of having to figure out how to get a hold of a pick so I can do some really chunky, heavy stuff, because we want to
Right,
have that chunky, heavy sound. So I've been like, oh, I got to figure out how to use a pick.
right, right. Um, let's see here. So, tell me about your current gear and your setup. What do you play? What do you play through? Do you use any kinds of effects? That kind of thing.
So right now, the bass that I'm using is just like when I say I bought a bass just to have one, I bought pretty much the most basic thing you can buy, which is
Hmm.
it's a Pearl Fender Squire bass. So just basically just like $140 bass. Like it's a cheap thing, but it really does do good. You know, I put new strings on it not long ago. And I'm running it through a Fender Mustang 2 amp, which is actually a guitar amp. But it's one of those amps that have all kinds of like crazy settings and stuff. So it has like a heavy metal setting. It does have a bass setting, but I'm going to eventually get a like pretty tall stack bass amps, especially when we get to playing venues and stuff. So I'm
Right.
in the market for a bass amp. If anybody has a link to a good bass amp, please send me one because I've been trying to find the right one.
Absolutely. Any of y'all out there that have a connection, hook Jade up.
Up with an amp, please.
um, so, do you have a preference yourself between 4 string and 5 string basses, or have you mostly played on a 4 string, or how has that gone?
I have never even touched a five-string bass. Mine is of course four-string. I haven't tried it, so I can't even say, like how it would be, but I see that a lot of the especially like heavier metal stuff, like when you get into those drop tunings and stuff, you kind of get
Right.
to where you need a five-string bass. So I
Yeah.
definitely need to at least pick it up and try it because I do see where it's kind of like when you get into that heavy stuff, you need five strings.
Absolutely, yeah. I started off my first bass is it's a Dean Hollywood 4 string, and I guess about a year later, I actually got an Ibanez 5 string that I absolutely love. I love the way Ibanez guitars in general play, and that thing is surprisingly light. I
Yeah,
mean, I can put it on and walk around with it and not feel like I'm breaking my back. Which at
yeah.
almost 55, I have to worry about stuff like that. But musicians have a tendency to collect gear. Um, do you have anything interesting or unique in your gear collection that you'd like to talk about?
I have a lot of instruments and stuff. I have an organ out in my shed with my drums, and I have three guitars total along with my bass, and I have in my shed with my drums and my organ are like it's like a graveyard of old amps. So
Oh, that's cool.
I have like three or four old amps in my garage because that band mindset. I'm like, but what if I need one of them one day? So
Yep.
I guess my weird collection is my amp graveyard.
Well, that's cool. So you've got sort of the musician pack rat syndrome.
I'm like anytime I even want to get rid of, even if it's just like an old case or an old strap, I'm like, somebody will
Don't
need
do
this.
it.
No,
Yeah,
like because
don't do
somebody
it.
will need this. This will save somebody $20 sometimes.
Right. So you had mentioned that you recently changed your strings. About how often do you do that? And I always ask bass players because bass strings are not cheap.
I learned that the hard way because when I changed my strings, um, honestly, I changed my strings the night before we recorded our first song. I had never changed strings on my own, but I always had somebody else do it for me because I'm like, "Ah, I don't know how to do it." But I realized by just YouTubing it that putting bass strings on is actually really easy. So
Yeah.
like I said before, like I really didn't play that bass that much. So that was the first time the strings had been changed on that bass since I got it in 2020.
Hmm.
So I went bought the strings Guitar Center, went home and just did it on the couch, and it was very easy, surprisingly. So,
Yeah.
but with my guitars, I like to do them at least once or twice, like a year, because I don't really play them that heavily. But I
Right.
do it. I like to have them, because I can really feel the difference sometimes with the strings.
Oh yeah, and I mean, it will you will end up with dead spots
Yes.
and that kind of thing, if you let them go for too long. But like I said, you practically have to take out a second mortgage to buy new to buy new strings. So
Yeah, the Guitar Center guy was when I was asking about because I'm trying to get that deep chunky sound. I had my guitarist gave me like the exact strings that I needed, the right gauges and stuff. So I got
mhm.
help from the Guitar Center guy. I was like, I need this and I need this exactly, and he's like, okay, you can buy this pack that's $70 that will last you like 2 years, or you can buy this $30 one that you might have to change. And I was like, I'll just take the $30 one for
Yeah.
now. So I'll pay for that later, but $70 is woo.
Well, just wait until you get that Bible Belt Massacre money start coming
Yeah,
in.
when it starts coming in, I'm gonna buy a life supply for real.
So Jade, who are some of your personal musical influences?
Oh gosh. Okay. So lately, I've honestly been listening to a lot of prog music.
Hmm.
I listen to a lot of prog anyways, because like I grew up on classic rock. I love from a really, really young age. I really love music, especially like the Beatles
Oh
and
yeah.
Pink Floyd. But lately,
Hmm.
like I love Yes, I love King Crimson, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, especially Rush. You mentioned Neil Peart earlier,
Oh
and I was like,
yeah. Yeah.
I love Rush. I love Geddy Lee. Um, I've honestly been listening to a lot of Premise lately too.
Hmm.
So I love Les Claypool. I love Geddy Lee, Chris Squire from Yes, and I
Oh
really like
yeah.
Iron Maiden too. Steve
Hmm.
Harris from Iron Maiden. Those are all like my top influences.
Well, like I said in my post earlier this afternoon, I literally just finished reading Geddy
I
Lee's
saw that you finished
autobiography.
reading Geddy Lee.
Yeah, that is a fabulous book. Yeah, I don't know if you're much of a reader, but if you haven't read it, you need to.
I saw that you kind of gave it like a little review, and I read that, and I was like, dang, I need to read that book.
Oh,
Because I
it is
absolutely
it
love
is
Rush.
just terrific. Yeah,
I
yeah.
got you.
I'm a big Rush fan from a very early age myself, and another prog band I really like is Dream Theater.
Yeah, yeah, I've heard about them.
Yeah, they are well worth your time to check out. All of them are essentially classically trained. They all kind of met in music school, and
Uh-huh.
I mean, just amazing musicians.
Oh yeah,
Um,
that's what I love about like King Crimson and Yes too.
yeah, absolutely. So, what was the very first concert or live show you ever attended as a fan?
Okay, so the very first concert that I ever went to was Def Leppard. It was in
Cool.
Birmingham, I think, and I was probably about 11 or 12.
Hmm.
And that was a pretty big like arena show. Like, it was on a lawn. I don't remember. I think it was Oak Mountain, maybe, but it was a big show, and it was a big one to be my first concert.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah, it was a good time though, because I really liked Def Leppard, and I really liked all that classic rock stuff at that age. So
Oh yeah, yeah. Same here. Same here. I guess I was. I think I was 13 when Pyromania came out. So I remember. I remember because that was what kind of put them over the top.
yeah, oh
And they were the biggest thing going for a few years there.
yeah,
So.
oh
So in the course of your journey as a musician so far, have you had the opportunity to meet any of your musical heroes?
yeah. No, unfortunately, I haven't really met anybody, but I've been to a lot of concerts. I did see, which is this is kind of embarrassing to say, but and this you are either gonna take this one of either two ways. You're either gonna like this person or you're gonna hate them. I saw Roger Waters in concert. I love Roger Waters as a musician. Like I really admire his songwriting and stuff. So I
Mm-hmm.
guess I consider Roger Waters being like maybe 25 feet from me to be that to be like meeting my because that Roger Waters is like a really big inspiration to me. And I don't some people hate him, him. You know, I honestly hate him sometimes, but
Oh
he's a great
yeah,
musician.
yeah. I mean, I completely respect Roger Waters as a musician, but as a human being, I think he's horrible. Just being perfectly honest. I mean,
He's a pretty bad person sometimes, but it's like, dang, if you didn't make such good music, man.
right, right. I mean, his bass work in Floyd was just brilliant. I
It was.
mean,
It was. He's
yeah,
honestly kind of underrated because I mean, there's a few Pink Floyd songs that are like, oh, the bass on this is boring, but then you listen to like Have a Cigar and especially a
mm-hmm.
lot of the stuff he did on Animals.
Oh yeah,
I've really been listening way more than I normally did to his bass work on those albums.
right, right. What I'm gonna do real quick is flip over to the Instagram tab and just see if anything's going on in the chat room over there, and see if anybody has any questions or comments yet. Let's see here. We've got a lot of people. Um, the folks from your band are in the chat, saying let's go and yo, and
Yo,
we've got a lot of people in there, and one of the guys from your band says a bassist changing strings is an unheard of story.
oh my god, there's no song.
So, moving on away from music, Jade, what are some of your personal hobbies and interests?
My main career right now, I'm actually a reporter. I'm a journalist, so
Oh,
I
that's
do.
cool.
Yeah, it's very weird to tell people that, like, oh, hey, I'm a reporter. So I do a lot of photography. I do a lot of graphic design. Those are kind of like my hobbies. Like, I really enjoyed doing art and stuff like that, and kind of utilizing graphic design stuff, and kind of being able to take my love of art and stuff and put it in graphic design and photography and do stuff like that. I really enjoy art, stuff like that.
Well, that's neat. You're kind of a Renaissance woman.
I try.
So, what I'm going to do right now is you had sent me a short clip of you and the Bible Belt Massacre rehearsing. So, what I'm going to do is play that clip real quick, and then we'll start to talk about the band. So. So, tell me about that particular clip. When was that filmed, and what was the story with that?
Okay, so I do want to clarify that the person playing drums in that video is not who our drummer actually is now. Our drummer now is Harrison Carter, of course. But so Harrison wasn't there for that rehearsal because that was our very first. I think that was our very first time actually meeting each other as a band,
Oh,
if I
well, that's
remember
cool.
correctly. And that was when we were going to continue as something else. We're still gonna cover that song that's played in that clip. That was "Bite It, You Scum" by Gigi Allen. And that's a really fun hype song. It's really simple, but it really like packs a punch. So I really like
Hmm.
that song. We're gonna be covering that song when we start playing shows, which is gonna be very soon. So I really like that clip because that was like literally it was in my uncle's garage. It was a very fun first practice.
That's very cool. I could tell you guys definitely had some energy and some chemistry together. So that was pretty neat. So tell me about the Bible Belt Massacre. You know, how long have you guys been together? How did the band form? Where did the name come from? Things like that.
So we started in January, just about, I think. It was kind of the beginning of January. And what happened was our vocalist, Moloch's, his band Evil Intent, was a very, very huge local band. I don't know if you've ever heard of them, but like that's how I got into the local music scene. Was I actually went to an Evil Intent show that my uncle took me to, because my uncle is good friends with our vocalist. And so I went to an Evil Intent show, and I thought it was the coolest thing I'd ever seen in my life. And I remember just like being at that show and being like, dang, I kind of want to do this. And
Mm-hmm.
a couple years, that was a couple of years ago. So I've been an Evil fan for a couple of years. So I was kind of a fan of our vocalist before I met him. So being in a band with him now is really cool. um, but so, anyways, a couple of years later, some things happened with Evil Intent, and they decided that they were going to go, different directions musically. We originally were going to continue as Evil Intent, but some things happened, some things changed, and we decided that we just want to do like a rebrand. And the band basically just rebranded, and this is a whole new thing now. There's going to be a lot of similar like theatrical elements as
Mm-hmm.
Evil had, but it's a new band, because I mean, the only member is our vocalist, but like we're keeping uh Bite at You Scum. That was a song that Evil played a lot, but
Mm-hmm.
it's a whole new thing. It's going to be really cool. Shelton, our vocalist, is the one that actually came up with the name, the Bible Belt Massacre, and it's totally. I don't remember how he said he came up with it, but he came up with it like years ago. And I don't know if he's still
Mm-hmm.
watching it on Instagram. He could probably tell you in the chat. But so yeah, he gave that name to us, and we were like, "That's cool. We'll run with that."
Very cool. Yeah, if you're hanging out in chat, definitely drop the answer in there, and we'll read it on the air in a little bit. So, bass players are typically, within a band, they're in partnership more or less with the drummer as the rhythm section. Uh, you know, you had told me beforehand that you guys are geographically kind of scattered, but
Yeah.
you can tell us about all that in a minute. But first, tell me about your relationship with the drummer and how you guys work together as the rhythm section.
We worked together really well. Harrison, was the last one of the band that I met, because he did come in later. Like I said, we had some changes and stuff. But so I've only been around Harrison a couple of times. But I really like him. Like I said, we all really just get along really good. We're all really good friends. So I mean, our partnership is really good. With being the rhythm section, I think we can play off each other pretty well. And we're both kind of relatable in the sense that I was a lead guitarist who became a bassist, and he in his other band is a vocalist and he's playing drums. So we're both kind of sort of unfamiliar, but we're still,
Right.
pretty confident in what we can do. So we do kind of have that in common.
Gotcha. Gotcha. So tell us about the geography issues that you guys have to deal with.
So, I live in East Alabama. Like, I live maybe an hour, 45 minutes or so from the Georgia line. Everybody else in the band is located in Georgia. So we have, one in North Georgia, one in kind of middle Georgia, and then one all the way down in Macon. So, we're kind of scattered, but we're honestly an average of about an hour and 45 minutes from each other at all times. So we've been kind of meeting up North Georgia. So that's kind of been our focal point, and I think it's been working pretty well. So it's a hurdle, but we all don't really mind the drive, and we're all taking this really seriously, so we make it work.
Right. Right. That's awesome, though. Having that kind of dedication, both to the music and to each other, that you're willing to do all that. That's pretty neat. So, so tell me about the songwriting process within the band. Is there somebody who is the primary writer, or is it a collaborative thing? How has that gone?
Now, the way that it stands, our first song, which is Plaything, that is coming out next month, it was written by our vocalist. He wrote it, I think he wrote the lyrics and the music on his own, and he kind of gave it
Hmm.
to us as a demo, and we built off of it. And then from the demo of that song in particular, the build off of it and what it ended up becoming was very collaborative, especially with our producer, which is Nate Bray. He's really been really key in our song, like mixing and mastering and stuff. That process, he's really like introduced some stuff to us that was really cool that we agreed with. So the way that we're moving forward with songwriting, we're actually working on some stuff right now. Is Our vocalist is writing the lyrics. I feel like he's going to be our primary lyricist because he is so
Hmm.
talented at songwriting, and I really like everything he comes up with. But I think from now on, the musical aspect of it as it builds off is going to be really collaborative. And so far, the stuff that we've done, and worked on together has been really easy to get. Everybody just gets along really well. So we all really like each other's ideas and everything that the other person has, and we all just kind of build off of each other, which is cool.
Very cool. Yeah. The little preview snippet you guys have released of Plaything really sounds good. I can't wait to hear the whole thing.
Yes,
So
I'm very happy with how the song has come out. I'm very happy with it.
so I think I think I know the answer to this, but I always ask: uh, is the Bible Belt Massacre, I guess, anything approaching a full time thing? It sounds like at this point, at least, it's not. And
No, it's not.
yeah, and you said that your day job is a reporter. What type of reporter are you?
I'm the assistant managing editor at a newspaper.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
I work actually like at a still physical newspaper. They still make those, and
That is
it's
pretty
actually
neat.
it's really fun, and it's very weird for somebody my age to be working at a newspaper because I'm 19 and I have absolutely no college education, but I'm actually a Alabama State Award winning journalist.
Wow!
Yeah.
Congratulations. That's pretty neat.
Thank you. It's a fun fact that I like to drop on people sometimes because I totally don't look like it.
That is really impressive.
Thank you.
So, what is the most interesting experience you've had playing live? You had said that Bible Belt has not done a live show yet, but it sounds like you've done at least some playing live yourself at some various times. So, what's been the most interesting experience that you've had doing that?
Okay. Um, well, when I used to play live shows, before this, I just played acoustic live shows with a friend of mine, and
Hmm.
we just played like bars and stuff, and we played a pretty big show one time, like for a downtown like music festival thing. But one time we were playing at a bar, and like I said a couple minutes ago, I'm 19. I think I was 18 or maybe 17 when we played this show, but we were playing at a bar, and I had been like particularly nervous that day. Like I wasn't really feeling it. I was kind of I felt like I didn't sound good. It was just not a good gig. But we started playing, and there's always that one drunk white woman at the bar. And
Hmm.
this one lady, she kept hollering at us like, "Y'all go, woo," and she sent us a shot. She sent both of us a shot. And like I said, I was very much underage, but she handed it to me and I took it immediately. And I didn't even think about it because I was like, awesome, cool. Someone sent me a shot. I'm going to take it. I'm not thinking, ooh, I shouldn't have done that. Because as soon as I took it, I looked at my buddy I was playing with because he was older. he drank, of course, and stuff, and he knew that I drank and stuff, and I just looked at him, and he was like, "That." He was like, "You're gonna get us kicked out, and we're never gonna be able to play here again." And I was like, "I probably should have thought about that." So that was kind of funny, but it's because I guess I just projected to that lady as older. She probably didn't even think about it.
Right, right. So, what is your favorite of the songs that you've gotten, I guess, worked up with Bible Belt to play?
So right now, I really like playing Plaything.
Hmm.
When we play it, when we rehearse, we play it over and over and over, of course. But it's really catchy to me. I find it really comfortable to play, and so I really just like that one, honestly. And I really like the cover of Bite It You Scum that we do because
Hmm.
it's so simple said it packs a punch, so you can really kind of like, get goofy with it and still feel like you're playing like a pretty solid, fun song.
Gotcha, gotcha. So, so you said that your hometown is basically in East Alabama. Um, what is your favorite thing about your hometown?
Oh, absolutely nothing in the town that I live. I live in like a two stoplight town. It's called Lineville. It's probably 30 minutes from Talladega. That's the closest thing that anyone really knows what it is.
Hmm.
I guess the favorite thing about where I live is that it is at the foothills of Cheaha Mountain and like the Talladega National Forest. And it's really honestly a very beautiful area. I just don't really appreciate it that much because I'm there and I'm like, ah, this sucks. I hate it here. But it really is geographically very beautiful. Like I can see Cheaha like on my way to work every morning, which is the highest point in Alabama. So it's really cool to be that close to that, but I don't really appreciate it as much as I should.
Gotcha, gotcha. Well, we're getting to a point in things where I'm about to ask you one of my favorite questions. But before we get to that, I'm going to switch back over to the Instagram tab and see what's going on over there. Let's see here. Okay, so he said it sounds like a murder documentary and it's catchy. So cool band name. And oh, and JT from Death Blender, which is a band here in the Atlanta scene, is in the chat, and he says, "Yo, big crowd tonight." And we actually do have a ton of people in the Instagram chat, and it looks like there's possibly 13 people over on YouTube and some other places. So
Half of that is my family. Hi.
so anyway, the question I'm going to pose, and this is kind of funny because you know you're not that old yourself, um, but if you could give any advice now to your younger self, what would it be?
To be weird. I, I spent a long time struggling with that. So, younger me, it's okay to be weird because you are. Just admit it.
There is nothing wrong with being different. That's for sure. So and so, do you have any suggestions for any other up and coming bands to check out, or potentially to reach out to do one of these live chats?
Okay, so I do want to plug our drummer. Like I said, our drummer Harrison is the vocalist of another band currently. He is the vocalist of Buried Within,
Okay.
which is another Atlanta band. They're doing really good. They're playing the Masquerade in
Oh,
Atlanta.
nice.
Yeah, right. It's good. It's good. They're opening, I think, for some pretty awesome big bands. Um, So I would like to plug them, and if you want to check out their bassist, his name is Mason. He's pretty good. Buried Within is pretty good.
Very cool. Very cool. I will definitely reach out to them. And so the drummer is Junkhead Boy on Instagram, correct?
Yes, that's our drummer.
Okay. Okay. Very cool. Very cool. So something else that we've done in all of these that's really been a lot of fun is each person that I have on gets to pose a question for the next person in the hot seat. So the my previous guest was a guy named James Abney, who is the guitarist and principal songwriter for a band in Chicago called Key Suspects, and he um, he basically posed the question, what advice would you give to someone who is just starting out playing bass?
No matter what you do, just make sure that you're dedicating a lot of time to practicing. And, don't worry if you don't have a great setup, if you just have a cheap little starter bass and amp, don't worry about your equipment. Just worry about what you can learn and what you can do with it. Just focus on learning and mastering it before you start worrying about equipment and spending money on stuff.
Absolutely, absolutely. Those are some wise words. So, and since this is a series, is there a question that you would like to ask the next person in the hot seat, who is actually this coming Monday? I've got a guy named Sweeze who is the bass player for a band up in Charlotte called Forever May Fall. So he's going to be my next guest. So do you have a question that you'd like to ask Sweeze?
Um, this is kind of like something I mentioned earlier, kind of, but as a bassist, there's a lot of some of the best bassists, honestly, like in music history, are prog bassists, like yes, Geddy Lee, all that kind of stuff. I guess I would say, how do you feel about prog music and like the complicated time signatures and stuff that it has?
Very cool. Very cool. So so aside from Plaything that's going to be coming out soon, do you have any other new material on the horizon? Do you have any shows that are coming up that you'd like to hype? Anything like that?
So we're actually getting together this weekend to hopefully, at the end of this weekend, we will have another song written, musically, and lyrically. So we have, I think, pretty much the lyrics for one song right now. So hopefully that will be done. We're working on some more promo stuff right now, some stuff, that's going to be shared on our social media very soon. And our single is supposed to come out very soon, like 2 or 3 weeks, maybe a month at the most. So we're very excited for that, and we're obviously going to share it and stuff on all of our social medias when it does come out. We're going to start playing shows very, very soon as well. Once we get probably one or two more songs, we've got some other great covers we're going to do, but we're hoping to start like next few months. I can honestly see us playing a show, especially probably by June. I think we'll play a show.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, I'm starting a thing, hopefully sometime in May, probably toward the end of the month. I'm going to be starting a show that's a new music spotlight. And if scheduling and everything works out, I would like to have somebody, whether it be you or one of the others from Bible Belt Massacre, come on. I can play Plaything and have somebody from the band, either talk about it with me live or do if scheduling doesn't work out, do a pre-recorded short video talking about the song. And because I'd love to give you guys some additional exposure through what I'm doing. because you
Yeah.
know new bands and everything are just really a cool thing. And you know, I'd love to have you guys come on for the new music spotlight show in May.
Oh yeah, I think we would all really be on board for that. That would be cool.
Okay. Yeah, I'll reach back out as it gets a little closer, and we'll try to figure all that out.
Okay.
So, you know, aside from what you guys have going on Instagram, is there any other social media or anything like that you'd like to hype?
Um, our band is just on Instagram. I know I see these little things going down
Yeah.
with all of our bands, all my bandmates' Instagrams. I feel like eventually we'll make a band Facebook page once we start touring and once we get a couple songs out. I feel like we eventually will be on Facebook, but for now we are on Instagram. There's mine.
Yep.
But the band is the Bible Belt Massacre on Instagram.
Very cool. Well, Jade, thank you so much for your time. This has really been a lot of fun. And you know, I'm excited for you guys. You know, being at the beginning of a new thing, it's always a little scary in some ways, but you know, but it's exciting. It's a new adventure, and you know, I believe in what you guys are doing. And you know, I'm excited for the future for you guys. I mean, you all seem like really bright people, and I'm just tickled to be getting to know all of you, and I'll definitely be following your progress.
That means a lot. Thank you so much.
Well, anyway, those of you that have been watching live, thank you. As always, you know, if you like what we're doing here, spread the word, you know, give us a follow, leave comments, all that good stuff. And like I said, I'll be back live again Monday night at 8 p.m. Eastern with Sweeze from Forever May Fall. Should be another great conversation. This will be out in podcast format probably later this weekend. You know, on all of your podcast platforms, and there'll be an edited version of this with titles up on YouTube probably tomorrow. And I'll be breaking this into probably 2 to 3 segments and reposting it on Instagram. So all of that will be available soon. But anyway, thank you guys for those of you that are watching live. For those of you that are watching in replays, thank you as well. And have a safe and blessed rest of your weekend. And we'll go ahead and say goodnight.
Thank you.